All right, so if you follow the SFR pulse, you know that we've been looking forward to the Freddie Mac and then Fannie Mae and FHA adaptations of their multifamily loan program for SFR. There's been a pilot program running for a year. I believed that the pilot program was going to prove out. They were going to get comfortable with the asset class the way they have in small balance multifamily, and they were going to systematically reduce the loan amount to get smaller and mid-sized investors into the mix. And the plug got pulled now. Here's a headline from Housing Wire. They're ending their expansion, but I want to draw your attention because all is not lost. I'm very hopeful still that after a lot of work and some more time, this thing's going to make its way to the market that it was supposed to make its way to in the beginning. What happened here, don't forget, is that Fannie Mae jumped in a year ago the first time and did a $1 billion deal with Blackstone. And the pushback was based on, if there's anybody out there who doesn't need any financial help from the government, it's Blackstone. And that's fair, right? Company's real successful. And that came off as a benefiting the fat cats on Wall Street kind of a move. Freddie came in and went to a lower loan balance, but they're still in the $100 million range. They adapted their large balance multifamily product to large investors, and their conclusion in here was that they really didn't need the help. The large investors didn't need the help. And they're right. Again, they're right because the large investors are issuing bonds. The large investors have very, very, very low cost capital. And those loan programs were great for them, but they weren't necessary for those companies to operate. So let me show you where the money line is here. We learned as a result of the pilots that the larger single-family rental investor market continues to perform successfully without the liquidity provided by the enterprises. That is true. Capital is flowing in. These companies are able to issue bonds successfully. They really didn't need it. In its announcement, FHFA notes that much of the single-family market is still controlled by small investors that have between 1 and 50. They mentioned their objective here. They reinforced that the objective from the beginning is to increase the availability of affordable rental housing in communities across the country. And they recognize the potential need for long-term financing for mid-sized investors that own affordable single-family rental assets. This is why I think this is going to play out okay. They went from large balance multifamily, $100 million buildings, to small balance multifamily, $6 million loans, and they dropped the minimum loan amount to $1 million. They did that on multifamily because they realized that separate and distinct from the large players, they were going to provide the smaller mid-sized players with the kind of liquidity and the low-cost financing. They're going to see that here. This is not over. That pilot program concluded, but they're saying right here that they recognize the fact, and here's what they're going to find. When small investors get low-cost financing, it does accrue to the benefit of tenants because smaller investors are more driven to keep occupancy high. They're more driven to renew leases. Like the large investors know that they can push their rents in this city by 3.25%, and they push their rents by 3.25%. Small investor in the same city doesn't know that number and just wants to keep the Smiths in the house. So he raises the rent $20 or leaves it the way it is. And when he or she sees a reduction in their cost of their monthly mortgage payment because they go from having a 7.5% mortgage to a 5.5% mortgage, they are that much less likely, in my opinion, to push those rents at all. And so there's going to be sunlight shining on the benefits of giving mid-sized investors this low-cost capital because, in fact, they don't have access to it anyplace else. And so I still think the real outcome of this is going to be mid-sized investors getting Fannie and Freddie loans. It's just going to take a little longer. Thanks for watching.